right, Ms. Raymer, floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. So we are here tonight to discuss the 24-25 budget. This is the fourth budget workshop and the final before we come back to adopt a budget next month, unless another one is requested, of course. So we're going to start off and do a quick recap. Then we're going to discuss the general fund a little bit more in detail, the debt service and tax rate, and then, of course, our final steps in adopting the budget for next year. So each budget workshop, we have gone over the priorities, which are to protect fund balance, have a balanced budget, competitive compensation, and we've also evaluated program effectiveness across the board, across the district, rather, offering choice programs while operating efficiently. We've discussed budgetary challenges, school funding formula, property and enrollment history, as well as projections for both the general fund and the food service fund. So in our prior meetings, we discussed the 23-24 projections as well as the 24-25 projected revenues and payroll. Tonight, we're going to go further and discuss the total preliminary general fund budget. I've shown this slide a few times, but there are a couple of items on here that are bolded because they've changed since our last budget workshop. We've discussed these assumptions for revenue. The first thing that has changed is the taxable value growth. On April 30th, I received the preliminary certified values from HCAD, and those are now at 4.1% of an increase over last year's taxable value growth. Versus the 10% that we actually discussed in prior meetings. We'll talk about those a little bit later tonight when we discuss the INS tax rate. Next, I've updated the refined ADA to 3367, and that's a change from 3389 from last month. We also discussed last month regarding the assumptions or the revenue, what the summary of that is going to look like from this year to next year. It looks a little bit different than it did last month because some of those revenue assumptions have changed, but it's still sitting at about a $1.5 million decrease next year from this year. It's been updated to reflect the increase of 4.1% property taxes, as well as which in turn inversely affected the state aid because they're inversely related. So you're going to see a little bit of a change there, but we're still sitting at a $1.5 million difference from year over year. This year we're projected to have a little over $5.3 million in excess of expenditures over revenues. But that assumes that all revenue has been received and all expenditures are spent. If all purchase orders are now in place and if there's no additional spending over that this year, then it's actually going to end about $500,000 less than that at $4.8 million. Our preliminary 24-25 budget that's shown here indicates a projected deficit of $2.6 million. So we're still working on that, and we may realize some more savings, but thus far we've been able to cut that deficit in half for next year while still protecting our staff and our students for the impending growth that we know that is coming. One thing I wanted to mention is this is exclusive of any additional funding from the state, any changes in enrollment, or any land sale that takes place. It also doesn't take into effect any disaster pennies which may be available to the district. Also, during the last workshop, we discussed staffing changes. Later tonight, we will come to you to discuss these changes for approval. These changes that we're going to talk to you about, which include reducing instructional coaches by 4 and adding 5 special educational positions were already included in that budget that I presented, that preliminary budget I presented a few minutes ago. Next, I wanted to talk to you about our debt service fund. Again, we received those preliminary values on April 30th, so now we can review what that anticipated budget is going to look like for this year. This is a 10-year history of our tax rate for both our M&O and our INS. It has decreased annually since 2019. 20.311 cents just from last year in total, and actually 0.45381 since 2019. So it's decreased quite a bit per $100 assessed value. This is what our taxable values actually look like over the 10-year period. It is the exact amounts of those taxable values that we have, the preliminary values, I should say. So again, we're anticipating for taxable values to increase this next year to $1.9 billion, which is slightly less than we had originally anticipated. This can change. In fact, HCAD, when they provided us with these preliminary values, also gave us a 5% swing in each direction. So it could end up being 10% higher, but conservatively at 4.1%. So next, our bond payments will increase this year by $3.7 million. And I have each of these payments for each of our bonds listed here on this slide. Taking into account our additional state aid for the homestead exemption, the interest earnings and any other collections, delinquent collections, penalties and interest that we collect, I actually anticipate that the district will only need to increase the tax rate by 0.11982. That's less than the 14 cents, which was originally expected by the bond sale. And that can also change based, as we get more firm numbers for those certified values. The preliminary budget for the debt service fund is reflected here on this next slide. Currently, it's showing that we should have an excess of revenues this year of about $370,000. What I have here for the preliminary budget for next year shows an estimated $152,000 of expenditures over revenues. But what I wanted to be sure and point out is that we have a $3.5 million fund balance in debt service. And the goal there is to try to keep it as close to zero as you can, and for that fund balance to pick up a little bit, because you're going to add a little year and take away a little bit each year. And that is where that fund balance kind of helps with the debt service fund specifically. So our next steps, although this is the final budget workshop that we have scheduled, there are still several steps that we have left to do. Later tonight, I will ask the board to approve a date for a public hearing of the 24-25 budget. The next 4 bullet points will occur over the next month, from publishing a notice in the paper of that budget hearing all the way to adopting the 24-25 budget. Hopefully, we'll receive the certified values from HCAD by the end of July, which would then allow us to adopt the tax rate in September. Last year, we did not receive those until the end of August, and so therefore did not adopt the budget until the end of October to meet that 60 days that you're given to review and adopt that tax rate. So that's all I had tonight, and I went through it kind of quickly. Do y'all have any questions or anything that I can answer? Yes, sir.
Outside of the certified values, what other like guesses are kind of factored into it? Things that we won't know officially, like that kind of things that follow behind that.
For the debt service fund, We already know what our debt payments are. We already know what the principal is, the interest is, and the fees are for the most part. So we already know what our expenses are. The only other thing that drives that revenue there are interest earnings. So that's really all we're waiting on is that preliminary. But I will say, tax collections. We can have those taxable values, but if we're not collecting the taxes. So I guess that would be the other thing that could drive that.
But the biggest change you talked about in terms of going from 10% down to 4, it's just an inverse relationship with the state's aid. Doesn't have a whole lot of impact on us, right?
It does not.
That'll go up and down, and it really has no impact on.
As long as enrollment doesn't change, as long as the ADA remains static, which I did from year over year, I used the same ADA number in both. It just moves that state and local funding. If you have your PowerPoint from last month and you look at it, you'll see that that I show that we would receive a whole lot more in property taxes, and in return, it shows a whole lot less in state aid.
This is just more informational. I understand. So our bond, you said servicing's gonna be at 11 cents?
Yes, sir.
I know during the bond proposition, it was put out to the public, it'd be around 14 cents. Can you tell a little bit why that ended up being 11 and not 14? Is it does it have to do with the valuation or?
Yes, it has to do with those. It also helps that we've also got that additional state aid for the homestead exemption coming into play. So the state is holding us harmless for that reduction. So that's one of the things to take it into account. You're not arguing about it?
I was just curious of the reasoning behind it more than anything. So.
That's one of the reasons. In fact, if I take out that Asahi is what we often call it, the Asahi, the interest earnings, and then the other collections that we receive, it is actually closer to 14 cents.
Yeah, so that's okay.
Now, if taxable values come in a little higher, then we will be able to lower it even more. Okay.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Raymond.
you.